In this section, I'm going to talk about sampling and population itself, because this is one of the most important part of the method chapter, because you need to talk about first of all the population, because you have the population here. So this is your population. You're going to talk about a specific group of people, a specific experts like school directors, engineers, or the dog population of London, or nurses who are working a specific state. So you're going to focus on that specific population. So it can be any kind of creation things or cases, and then based on that you just sample. You create a sample, you just recruit some of those people or some of those guys. So it's not gonna, you can't cover, you don't have access to everybody, just some of them will reply you back, or they're happy to be a part of your sample. So you recruit a smaller size sample, and based on that you say, okay, this is my result. You will get your result based on a small sample, not from the population directly, but also from your sample. And then you claim something based on your result. You say, I found this, but this, whatever you found, is based on the sample, is not based on the population. But when you claim, this is my output about green guys, about yellow guys, about this group of people, then this will be linked to your population. You need to clarify that your claim is not going to represent, or is not going to be easily generalized, and is not going to cover all the population. My claim is based on my sample. So that's why the sampling method is important. Is that a random sampling method, or is that selective? How you, there are so many thousands people here on the street, but which one is included? And based on your sampling, you're gonna get different types of output. For example, if you have a small sample, and then your measure is like, for example, here is the body temperature of healthy people. So your sample result is gonna be the same as another researcher sample results, because the results is going to be very close. But if you are talking about systolic blood pressure of different samples, so the result or the average of your sample is going to be different than another researcher in a different context or city. So that's why the measure itself is important, but usually you can't easily say that my sample, the result of my sample is the same as someone else doing the same measurement in a different country or somewhere else. So discussion around sampling is very serious in all research projects. So there are different types of strategies, like the most important ones are related to probability sampling and also non-probability sampling. If you do like probability sampling, if you adopt this one, then you can choose your sample based on like a simple random sampling. So you have this simple random sampling, you have so many different guys here, and then you just pick some of them, and these numbers, if you for example represent them or label them by number, then you can use like a calculator or a machine to generate numbers, and you pick specific numbers, and this can be your sample. For example, you have lots of employees in an organization, and they have a specific ID number, and then you randomly use like an algorithm or calculator and randomly choose some numbers, and then invite them to be a part of your sample, and then you can do a survey or interview them. So this is like a simple random sampling, but you can create different cluster. You say, for example, the students in architecture or construction, for example, all of them is like one population, but I'm going to talk about year 2 students, year 3 students, year 4 students, whatever. So you make different clusters and then you just pick 2 of them or 3 of them randomly, these 3 or another 3 ones. So you can pick 3 clusters randomly. So it's gonna be cluster sampling or systematic sampling again. So you have like a simple equation. So of total population is clear, sample size is clear. If the total population is divided by 10, so you have many 10 10 10 groups. So and then you decide to pick the first one of each group. For example, this is like a systematic way of sampling, and it's gonna be the other one is stratified sampling, which is based on, for example, you create different groups like this one, second, third, and fourth. So you get 4 groups, and all of them are homogeneous groups. They have a specific attributes, similar attributes, and then you randomly pick these 2 from the first group, and these 2 from the second group, and these 2 from, for example, the other one. So random members from each group. So that's the fourth one. Or you get non-probability sampling method, so convenience sampling. So you have a pool of respondents, and you have like a the eligibility criteria. Based on this criteria, you can go to your like your campus, the university campus, or like in the street. You just you have like eligibility criteria, and based on that, everybody, for example, related to your research project can be there, like randomly chosen, and you can ask them to do the survey and complete your form. So this is something you choose people. It's still random, but the way you do this data, like the questionnaire distribution, is going to be convenience in the convenience way. But the other one is based on judgment, and it's going to be purposive sampling. So this is based on a specific objective. You have a specific way to find your people, and there is no other choice or way to go and find like the participants. So in this way you have your specific approach to pick selective guys to be a part of your sample. But sometimes you don't know them, you don't have that kind of networking or a specific list to find those people. So you use a snowball sampling. You can say like chain sampling or chain referral sampling or referral sampling. This in this way, if you find one of those guys, for example, if you find one homeless guy, then this guy can show you the other one, and the other one. So you can use this method. But the other sampling method is quota sampling. So it doesn't matter what method you are going to use, but you make a decision. You need, for example, half male and half female participants. Then you can use different sampling method, but try to control it and say, okay, I'm going to get 100 from each. It's not you can do it in an uncontrolled way as well, but if you want to come up with like a balance of 100 or 50 males and 50 females, then you need to have your own strategy to ensure that you achieve your target number, but you need to justify why you are going to do that and what is the reason. And you can use these sampling methods, but based on a specific justification. It's possible, but why is the most appropriate way for your research method. So here I'm going to show you just an example of a sampling method. For example, in this paper here, you can read more and find more about it. So here, like a customer has been invited to involve, but this is very experienced using a specific brand of a specific crane. Then when we interviewed this person, then we've got the contact of the seller, someone who is selling that kind of crane, again an experienced person, but selling, for example, Liebherr crane. And then when the interview finished, then we've got the contact of someone else doing this, using cranes, but in a different city. And then afterward we tried a different country, selling crane in a different country, and then asking them to refer us to someone who is your customer. And then again, the same country but the different city. So we talk about the customer of that person as well. And the information collected, like the interview was very detailed interview. We've got a rich data set, and then we started doing like analyzing them in the lab. So that's the process of chain sampling. When you are going to address a specific question and you need specific persons, like a specific experts with a specific like eligibility criteria, but you don't know all of them, so it's gonna be based on the chain like a referral process, but at the same time it's based on like the judgment, or you have a specific criteria as well. So these are just few examples of sampling, but you can think about your research question, how that can be appropriately addressed, and then clarify or design your research method and sampling process as well. Thank you for watching this video.